another episode of the Lakers Fast Break podcast. It's Gerald Glasser coming right back at you here from Lakers Fast Break, Pop Culture Cosmos, where we cover the latest news and trends in pop culture each and every week, twice a week, wherever you get your podcasts. And we've got a special show because it integrates with our other show that I do, Inside Sports Fantasy Football, where I will be doing a full 1 hour special that will appear this weekend on both the Inside Sports Fantasy Football and Pop Culture Cosmos channel. So go ahead and check it out today. Plus, all the radio stations that play the Pop Culture Cosmos truly appreciate it. Go catch us there as well. Also, of course, you got to go ahead and check out Joe Soro's Ox 1947. Go ahead and do so today at Lakerholics.com. Also, as well, Lakerholics.com. Go ahead and get the latest information or the crazy trades that Laker Tom is proposing out there at Laker Tom on Twitter, or when he's writing his great articles today as the #1 Lakers blogger that's out there at Lakerholics.com, along with his good friend and, dare I say, arch nemesis, nemesis, that would be none other than Jamie Sweet. Go ahead and check out what they're arguing about today at Lakerholics.com. Our good friend John McCallion, he did a stream earlier today. He is setting a goal for himself. He's already lost 50 pounds. He said he's setting another goal for losing another 50 pounds by Halloween. Go ahead and hear his great journey today and his great conversations and his great streams on the John McCallion channel. And speaking of YouTube, please go ahead and subscribe today. Hit that little Joe Soro right there on the right-hand corner of your screen with the beady eyes. Go ahead and click on it today to get the latest notifications on when we go live on the air with the latest Lakers Fast Break podcast. Well, we do know that the NBA schedule did get introduced in full, and tomorrow we've got a deep dive waiting for you on the Lakers and the schedule. I asked each and every one of the crew to go ahead, if they can stop by for tomorrow, to go ahead into detail on parts of the schedule that we're going to talk about. There's going to be more back-to-backs. What's the issue with LeBron and AD on that? Where we're going to go as far as major road trips. All the information. We're going to do a heavy deep dive on the schedule tomorrow. Plus also as well, a Team USA post game because they play Greece tomorrow. Also this weekend, we've got Team USA updates. Of course, Lakerholics, I think they're planning a Sunday show at this point in time for Lakerholics Spotlight. And Chris Jose LeBron, he is going to be stopping by. He told me Sunday as well for a New York Knicks team report. So looking for that, looking forward to that as well. But for today, our team profiles continue. Magic Man is stuck in traffic. It's somewhere in Toronto. Plus also as well, Joe Soro. It's 5 o'clock rush hour for Thursday. So you know it's going to be a little bit probably before he gets here. But I have a great guest indeed. She is returning to us once again. She is Jennifer Matthews Lewis, the co-founder of Three Chicks in a Pod. She also writes for Stiched Media. And of course, also as well, Chicks and Salsa. There you go. I didn't even mention the sip-off. You got so much going on out there.
Oh, I have to sip off too. Sorry, Megan.
Exactly. Well, I'm going to get Megan on when we talk San Antonio. I'll probably nag her again here in a couple weeks. We got to finish the Eastern Conference first, and then we're going to start with the Western Conference probably sometime in September. It's when we'll hit up all the Western Conference teams. Mm-hmm. But today it's you talking Charlotte Hornets. Jennifer Matthews Lewis, great to have you here. Thank you again for joining us here at the Lakers Fast Break.
Thank you for having me on again, Gerald. I greatly appreciate it.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's great to have you here. Joe, I sent you the link. I know you're in the chat. Please stop on by if you get a chance. We'd love to hear your thoughts and questions to Jennifer on the Charlotte Hornets. So hopefully you're getting away from work or your calls or whatever you're doing so you can hop on. I know Sean is hopefully going to be joining us as well. But for now, you've got me right here talking to you. So the first question I have is the Charlotte Hornets, a team, I don't want to say in a state of flux, but it's a team to go in there with Mitch Kupchak, not one of the most revered individuals in Lakers lore as far as the GM. Michael Jordan has sold the team although he has a very small interest left over, he has sold the team and is no longer the majority owner of the Charlotte Hornets. This is a team I think is still in a state of flux. I'm here in Vegas where they're still predicting the team to be quite low in the standings. Although when you look at them, I still have a feeling that within the organization, they still see themselves as a team that could contend for a playoff spot this season.
Okay, here's where I'm going to say this, and we were talking a little off camera. Miles Bridges coming back, which I absolutely abhor, for his off the court antics.
Domestic violent issues that he
Yes.
did. I think a plea deal was made, and
Mhm.
his ex-wife has asked for him to get a second chance, but it is something he was found guilty of. Did make a plea deal, I think, and then he has been suspended by the league. And his first game he'll be eligible to return. Looking at the schedule, is November 17th.
And in my humble opinion, he should be in jail for attempted murder and child abuse. Because his 3-year-old son, there was video released of his 3-year-old son talking to his aunt, saying, yeah, it was like grabbing daddy's leg and hitting his leg and telling him he was being a bad boy. His son saw this, Gerald.
Yeah.
That's
it's not good.
And of course, his ex-wife, so many reasons she wants him to have like another chance. More money for her. I'm not trying to be mean, but let's face facts. There's reality there, because when you get to a certain financial position in life, it helps.
Yeah.
Right? It just helps. It helps to have a little cushion. I don't care what your socioeconomic background is. For us, if we have an extra $5,000 at the end of the month, great. If not, hey. And I'm not being mean. I'm not knocking her. But she was also abused for how long? She was abused. They're in the honeymoon cycle. Of course, he's going to be like, hey, babes, can you please, like...
There's no excuse for it. Absolutely not.
Yeah. So, I mean, she's still in the abuse cycle. She still has that psychological trauma, even though the physical trauma has healed, I think, for the most part. I don't know. I haven't seen any updates, but it's just my personal opinion that Kupchak, I forget how to pronounce his name.
Mitch Kupchak, yes.
Thank you.
Believe me, unfortunately, we can't get him out of our heads, unfortunately, because of all the things that he did. Got us the Pau deal, got us Pau Gasol, but then again, he also got us Mozgov and Deng. So it looks like, tit for tat on that one. So
right. And I mean, I'm not knocking her at all. Like, I can't imagine. I'm not in an abusive marriage. We have an argument, but it's a healthy argument. You know what I mean? Joe, you're the same way. You've been married for I don't know how long.
Going on 19 years here.
That's awesome.
To a wonderful woman. Absolutely. There's absolutely no place for it. And the thing on top of all this was at the time that it happened, Jennifer, and this just clicked in my memory, it was on the verge of free agency.
Yeah.
That season, which was
max contract.
Yep. He had a max contract all waiting for him. All this, he just had to be, out of the spotlight, out of the news, out of the police blotter for 24 more hours. And he just couldn't do that. And it just happened to him. And you saw what happened since. But he comes back. Charlotte, they're a team that is struggling with depth, in my opinion. I'm sure you probably agree with me on that. So they were more welcoming to bringing him back because they did have the rights to him, retain rights because of what happened. I believe that's why he came back.
And on the court, Bridges unified the team. Like, that's what stinks. You could tell last year, without Bridges on the court, the team didn't have the same chemistry.
Well, they just don't have the firepower, and especially after Ball got hurt. LaMelo Ball.
I need Ball to stay healthy this year.
And that's something I want to ask you as well. I mean, obviously, we'll get back to Bridges and what he's going to do on the court. We know he's going to get, as you and I talked about, how Charlotte's probably going to, the fans are probably going to lay the heavy on him when he comes back on the 17th.
I'll boo him.
Yes.
I will boo him.
Now, when it comes to LaMelo Ball, he signed a major contract extension over the course of the summer. Let me ask you this. He is supposed to be the face of your franchise going forward. Is he a good enough player to be that face of your franchise for a winning Charlotte Hornets? See, the key word there is winning Charlotte Hornets franchise going forward.
So, interesting side note. I actually think Charlotte FC will bring the first championship to Charlotte. Just my little humble opinion, which is our soccer club. because the Panthers have been to the Super Bowl twice.
Mhm.
The Hornets have never made it past the third round of the playoffs. Um, Second round with the Bobcats. So there's something going on there. But I'm hoping the new ownership actually really makes some changes. By all accounts, I haven't been into the stadium or the arena because obviously it's been closed. It's outdoor concert season. It's not indoor concert season. So I haven't been in since last year, or since they took over. But they've apparently made some upgrades to Spectrum Center. They've made some definite upgrades to the roster. If we could possibly, and I'm not knocking Steve Clifford. I'm not knocking him. He's a good coach. He's a good. Let me introduce
Welcome
you to
back, Steve.
He is a good. Let me introduce you to the NBA coach.
Yeah.
He's not Pop. So, Pop
He's not a
can.
guy that's going to be able to take your team.
No.
He's going to take you only so far, and then you're going to eventually need someone else to get you further. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, absolutely. And no disrespect to him at all. If you would have 3 years ago, I think I even said on this show that the Hornets were doing what the Hawks had done with the 85 South rivalry, and we were starting to really build and grow momentum. And at that point, I could have seen us really making a huge playoff run this year. But with all the setbacks we've had, I don't know. For your question with LaMelo, if he gets the right people around him, yes. If we can get some other names around him, even no names, I'm interested in what Brandon Miller will bring to the team, because he was our number 1 draft pick. And I know, right?
Very good one, Kurt. To our audio listeners, Kurt said Steve Clifford is the ex you always keep trying to get back.
And he keeps coming back. It's between us and Miami, baby.
He's comfort food. He's comfort food there for you. But now again, the top end of LaMelo Ball is someone I think that can be a top 20 player in the league. I'm not going to dispute you on that. But the problem is, how many times over the course of that contract is he going to become a top 20 player league? Is there always going to be injuries? Is there always going to be something of concern? Is there going to be, malcontent? Is he going to go? Is he going to be one of the next players to say, I want to be traded? It just
he wants to stay here. He really loves Charlotte. He loves the Hornets organization. At least under MJ's ownership, I'll say that.
Kyrie Irving said he loved Boston too, and you see where that went.
Yeah, well, Kyrie Irving is
he's a different
unique. I mean, I'm just saying, Duke's got to be proud.
He's
Duke's
very unique indeed.
That one and done. Just saying that. Go Heels. With Melo, here's something that I've always found an issue with in any sports: professional, collegiate, high school, junior high, youth, whatever. If I will never understand. And I was an athlete. I was a swimmer, so I was not in group sports, but I was a swimmer. I will never understand why you keep going after that one person, and that, like with LaMelo, it's his ankle, right? So why do you keep going to go hurt his ankle again? Like, he's your NBA brother. Like, you guys know what it takes to get to the NBA. Why are you actively trying to hurt each other? I don't understand. That's just something, like, I get win at all costs, but don't win at all costs injuring somebody. That's just me. But sorry, I saw the Southern Comfort. Sorry.
Oh, no, all good. Great questions indeed. Once again, it is Jennifer Lewis. Please go ahead and check out what she's doing today at 3 Chicks in a Pod, wherever you get your podcasts. Also as well, Chicks and Salsa, also as well, the Sip Off. And of course, she also writes for New Stiched Media. I'm going to provide many of those links in the chat if you want to see what she's doing for all 3 of those great shows, plus also what she does as far as New Stitch Media as well. I will provide the links to the couple of those Facebook groups and New Stitch Media. That's going to be in the chat for you as well. But Jennifer, my question to you is, okay, you've got LaMelo Ball coming back healthy. You do have Miles Bridges after the 17th, regardless of whether you and I really think he should be in the NBA or not. he's going to be there as far as your small forward. If he comes back to anywhere near where he was, 20-point scorer, very efficient, played solid defense. I mean, obviously, he's the type of wing player that almost any other team would normally covet if the Charlotte Hornets don't want him around. But then again, there's obviously a little bit of baggage there, to say the least. Where are the other good spots in your rotation that you see will be filled out with promise? I mean, you've got a lot of tantalizing young players who've yet to fulfill their potential. But who do you see from this list of individuals on that roster outside of Bridges and Ball that could really help the Charlotte Hornets win?
You know, Gordon Hayward, when healthy, is solid. He's solid. I like Book Night a lot. And then, of course, we have Scary Terry. Scary Terry's all over the place.
Well, the thing I ask you, though, with Gordon Hayward, if he has an efficient season for Charlotte, do you think he'll be still there by the trade deadline? Do you think he'll be gone?
I don't know. He gets hurt a lot.
He does.
I mean, like, he gets more. I mean, like, honestly, like, he's missed out more than LaMelo. So, I mean, maybe that's not a fair comparison. I think LaMelo has a stronger drive to win.
But do you think, is Gordon in the last year of his contract? I'll look that up, because if he is, he could be. If he is, then he definitely will be. If he's healthy throughout the entire season, I'm going to tell you right now, he will be on the trade deadline. He'll be moved to somewhere. He'll be in the last year of his season. If the team is getting like targeting for 30, 35 wins, not playing up to the expectations, and he's available and he's still healthy, I bet you he goes and he's a marketable commodity for teams right around the trade deadline.
He signed, no, it's not his last year. He signed a 4-year contract in 2021.
Okay,
so next year.
Yeah. Next year? Okay. Let me make sure it's not a team option, because if the team option, that's absolutely still nope. It's 23, 24. Yeah, he's a free agent next year. So yeah. His is the last year upcoming on this contract. So yes, he will be this a free agent after this upcoming season. So by the trade deadline, he will, if he's healthy and he's contributing to your team, I think he'll be gone. I think he'll be someone that is definitely will be sought after by a playoff level team if the Charlotte Hornets are not at a playoff level at that time. Because of the fact that his contract expires after this upcoming season. So that's something that somebody there, like you said, can be a great contributor for the team. Is there anyone young? Is there any young players on that team, like Mark Williams or anyone of that team? Because Mark Williams right now is supposed to be your starting center. He showed some flashes last season. Is he an answer for you guys long term?
He showed some flash. I don't know. I need to see a little more. I mean, he's a good center, but I don't know. I mean, last year was so atrocious for us. It was hard to be excited, right?
Of course. Yeah.
So, I mean, he did pretty good. His stats, I'm pulling up his stats. Sorry, I had all that done, but I have like a really nice Excel spreadsheet. You'd be very proud of me right now.
There you go.
He averaged about 9 points a game. His field goal percentage,
it should be high.
It's about 63.7%.
He's a rim runner, absolutely.
Yeah, he is. So I mean, that's good. I mean, yeah, he has the potential to be solid and a good game changer. Okay. Sadly, part of me still lives in the past because I'm still like, I want Kemba, but I know what Kemba's, stem cells didn't work out for him.
Yeah, Kemba's career is behind him as far as the NBA for the most part. When it comes to Mark Williams, the only thing I think a lot of people are concerned about is how if he has a parallel career to, let's say, Jalen Duren, because both those
Mhm.
guys, I think that they did a swap. If I remember correctly, Charlotte did a swap and ended up how getting Mark Williams. They had a chance, an opportunity to get Jalen Duren. So I'm seeing how those two will be mirrored with each other in the seasons going forward. But the one player who will also be mirrored with another fellow young player is Brandon Miller.
Yes,
Brandon
I'm
Miller
excited
is
about Brandon.
Yes, you're excited. So tell us about this because again, a lot
Well,
of analysts, including myself, think Scoot Henderson is the better player of the two. During the
yeah.
limited time in summer league, Scoot didn't get a chance to show us much, but he was very impressive for the time he was. Brandon Miller was sort of up and down. You said you're excited. Obviously, he's the second pick of the draft as well. You should be. There's a lot of expectations on him. How do you think his first season will go in Charlotte?
I think okay, so Brandon there was some funny stuff in the Charlotte Hornets Reddit about Brandon Miller and Miles Bridges. I'm just saying.
Mhm.
Um, it did make me chuckle. Brandon Miller does obviously have the situation down south. Um, that I think is almost completely resolved, but we're he was so excited when he played the Spurs and beat Vic. Like, I mean, he completely outshone Vic during that one game. That being said, I wanted Scooter. I'm not gonna lie, because
You
I
wanted
knew the
Scoot as
Spurs were gonna
well.
get Vic. Yeah, like in the sip off chat, I was giving Megan a hard time, but I was like, Megan, come on, just give me Vic. I don't ask for much from you. Just give me Vic. But um, also, I'd rather Vic go with Pop than Coach Clifford. Did I say
Mhm.
that out loud? Um,
You keep stressing on it, but San Antonio isn't gonna. He's gonna retire a Spur. I think it's pretty sure by now.
oh yeah, he is. He is. He is. That's why I said no. Like honestly, I would have rather Vic truly have Pop as a head coach
Hmm.
his rookie year than
Hmm.
anyone else in the league. So that's not a knock on
Mm.
Clifford or anybody else. I really just my 2 cents. I think Pop knows how to cultivate young players,
Well, we'll see
and
with Victor Wembanyama.
he can be generational. Brandon Miller can be generational too. So can Scooter. That's why they went top 3, right?
That's correct.
Um, Brandon has a lot to prove. When you have the odds stacked against you and you have talent and you have drive and determination and dedication, sky's the limit. Sky is
W-
the limit.
Well, as someone who is supposed to be able to stretch the floor, provide you some wing help,
Mhm.
but also be big enough and large enough to be able to play a little bit inside, give you some rebounding strength. I'm looking forward to seeing what he can bring, especially as his body fills out and he gets more muscle, gets a little bit more attuned to the play in the NBA. So hopefully he will go ahead and take that determination that he should have for so many people like myself that think Scoot is still a better player than he is,
Mhm.
to go ahead and utilize that as far as determination to go ahead and be the best player he can be for the Charlotte Hornets.
And I'll say this, I do kind of feel bad for Scoot because he doesn't have Dame.
Hmm.
And I thought, or he won't have Dame. I don't Dame hasn't landed anywhere yet, right? He's
No,
still a
he's
trailblazer, right?
still a trailblazer.
Still a trailblazer. I was like, I
That's
didn't
going to
mess
be
that up.
extremely awkward if that gets to camp, and I'll just say that there.
That will be that'll be James Harden awkward. Um
Well, when you go to camp, you've got, oh, hi, Damian Lillard. I'm the starting point guard. Who are you? Damian Lillard says, I'm the
that's
starting
true.
point guard. Oh, really? I
Yes.
thought I was the starting point guard. Yes, that will be extremely
We're gonna
awkward.
play it off.
But
Oh,
Brandon Miller, again, he's got to have that determination because, again, I think there's a lot of people who are not thinking of him in that context as far as being a great player. I
yeah.
really think, again, the sky, like you said, could be the limit for him, and I'm hoping for you guys that's going to be the case.
Well, and his stats last year in Alabama, I mean, they were pretty solid. I mean, they weren't they were pretty solid. Like there's definitely room for improvement for a college player out of Alabama because Alabama's not known for basketball, right? They're known for football. So
Mhm.
it's kind of like Carolina's not really known for football, they're known for basketball. Same with Duke. Um but I think that determination is going to be what propels him. I think if since MJ is still a partial owner, if he actually gets involved and gets active, because there's a difference between a great player and a great boss, right? So difference. So hopefully MJ will recognize that dedication and determination and really push him. He's done that with LaMelo, but part of that is because of LaMelo's dad talking so much smack, I think. But that's just me. But that was a good play on his dad's part. I think Miller can be solid. I really wanted Scooter. I was kind of sad when we got Miller. I wasn't sad. I was disappointed because I wanted Scooter. I wanted Scooter here. I wanted Brandon in Oregon. I have a girlfriend who is, well, like Gerald said earlier, MJ's still a small owner, and he'll never be done with the game of basketball. We're talking the GOAT there. Like, he's never going to leave the game of basketball. I don't care what anybody says. Mm-hmm. I think he still goes out and plays with basketball and other NBA players.
He was hanging out with Magic the other day on his birthday. Yeah. So, yes.
Yeah. Kurt, you're funny.
Yes, Kurt. Well done.
I think he's talking about taking his son Marcus out of the will right now. Yeah. That's not funny. Marcus has to get a job soon. But I don't know. I think Brandon will do it. I'm going to go with his dedication, his drive, his determination that will propel him. Plus, remember, his father was in the NFL too. So he has that competitive edge. He knows, he was raised with that professional athlete mindset. And it's going to take, like, LeBron's a different story. MJ's a different story, right? Because they weren't raised in professional athletic homes. Mm-hmm. They just had that drive. That's unparalleled. Kobe had it, so few people, Bob Russell had it. Just going back, but when you look at the grades, they had that edge. I want to see if Miller has that edge. He's had it in preseason. Who I would kind of like to see come up from our G League. I kind of want to see Leaky Black come up from the G League, from our G League to the Hornets official roster. I don't know when that'll happen, but that's what I would like to see. I'd like to see Murray as well, but because I think they will add a lot to the roster once they get a little more polished.
All right. Once again, it is Jennifer Lewis. Please go ahead and check out what she's doing today at 3 Chicks in a Pod. Also as well, Chicks and Salsa, new Stitched Media, and of course the Sip Off. And also here today, good man indeed. He did get out of Toronto traffic. It's the madman from Toronto.
Just barely.
Just barely to talk to Jennifer Matthews Lewis. It is the Magic Man, Sean Grice. And Magic Man, great to have you here. I saved some of the PJ Washington and Terry Rozier questions for you. I was talking with Jennifer about Brandon Miller, of course, the persona non grata in Mr. Miles Bridges. I talked to her about LaMelo Ball. But your thoughts, my friend, when you're talking about the Charlotte Hornets, what kind of questions did you have for Jennifer today?
No, it's a great conversation, Gerald. As I was listening, stuck in Toronto traffic, watching ministry employees try and get rid of a huge mess that was on one of our highways.
So it was legit. You were stuck in. I know that's always a catchphrase, but yes.
Yeah, no, it's 100%. I do apologize both to Gerald and Jennifer and the audience, but
I know Joe's busy till 6:15, so he probably won't make it today. So
yeah, apparently one of these trucks didn't have their lock engaged, and so all this it felt like 50 pounds of styrofoam just was coming all at us. So
how nice!
Yeah, it was almost a whiteout in August in Toronto. So. But I apologize, Jennifer. Mike,
you're
Mike,
fine. I understand. I live in Charlotte, You wouldn't think it, but we get a lot of traffic. So
no, I've actually done research on like the worst highways in the West because I actually I travel one, and yeah, Charlotte it's brutal. It's like it's one of the most underrated, brutal. I've seen it, man. So I mean, Godspeed. I know what it's like.
Yeah.
My big question is, Jen, I really love the talent that's on the Hornets, and ever since I was a kid, I've kind of had a wandering eye to that franchise because
it's the colors.
It was teal. It was teal. Like I grew up in the middle 90s, so every team or seemingly was teal. Charlotte was teal, the Jags were teal, the Sharks were teal. Like teal was such, and the Seahawks went back to teal. I mean, teal is such a cool color. But you know, they've had really great players in their history. They've had Larry Johnson. They've had Zoe for 3 years, you know. But now that Jordan has sold the team, I almost feel that if they did you know, appraisal from top to bottom, I think if they tore out the studs and started over, Jen, that they could be one of those teams from the small market who just needs to get a little bit more stability. So how do you feel about ownership now versus Jordan? Because there's only 2 franchises that have never paid the tax in the NBA, the Hornets and the Pelicans. Do you think if they built a winner in Charlotte that they would spend the money?
So I'm going to ask you this question. Did you know that the Pelicans were started by the same original owner as the original Hornets?
I did not know that.
He was run out of Charlotte.
Was that Shin? No. It's before him. Oh, it was. Okay. Not bad. Not bad.
George Shin brought.
Yeah.
So Charlotte sports would not exist without NASCAR and without wrestling.
Okay.
Just a side note.
Oh yeah, don't get me started into wrestling. We'll be here for the next 5 hours.
I like AEW the most.
There you go. Absolutely. Well, you go to the Pop Culture Cosmos. I have a
question for you after the show, Gerald.
Okay, fair enough. I can answer any pro wrestling questions that there is. So. Magic Matt, are you there?
I'm here, Gerald.
Okay, because Jen, we're losing you on your internet. You still there, Jennifer? Looks like we're losing the signal on that.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can get her back here in just a second. Magic Man, hopefully I can go ahead and just talk a little bit here about the Charlotte Hornets because we did. There she goes. There you go. All right. No worries.
Send the heat. Send that fake snowstorm my way, okay, Sean?
Well, I was told I'm getting a hurricane here by Monday. So
yeah.
So
give me that rain too.
I will say, I was saying earlier, don't ever get me started on pro wrestling. I already do an hour show on pro wrestling each month, so I will just go ahead all day on that. But I will ask you this though, when it comes to what Kurt was asking with PJ Washington, and Magic Man, I'll give it to you next, my friend. PJ Washington, he is currently still in limbo status because the Charlotte Hornets have tendered him a restricted offer. So he is actually a restricted free agent. He's got nobody to have any interest in him. If he became an unrestricted free agent, everybody would be interested in him. But this time, what he's going to be doing, we're not sure yet. Your thoughts, will he get re-signed by Charlotte or has it gotten hostile down
PJ.
there?
I love PJ.
Have you heard anything about this? Has it gotten hostile yet between him and the front office?
Hostile? No, not at all. I think they're just still doing contract negotiations. I think he'll be re-signed. We want him by everything I've heard. He wants to stay with us. I mean, I love PJ Washington. Like, he's one of my favorites. I'm not going to lie. Like, we got to keep PJ. I know there was some conversation last year before the Bridges situation because they were starting kind of contract negotiations. And I was like, who do we get more money to? PJ or Miles. And even then I was torn at that point. I was like, well, we give both some money and then as we can, because one of them is bound to leave, right? Somebody's going to come in, offer more money to one of the players, and they're going to ask for a trade. Like, we all know these things happen under the table, and then that's when it gets a little spicy. Well, we have Bridges for less than $9 million. So we got money for PJ. We need to pay him because he's done a lot for our organization. He's done a lot for our team. He's kind of helped, like, he and Kelly Oubre have kind of like really kept us in the games. We were atrocious last year, but we were really trying for Vic. Pop lost, I think, one more game than we did. And then, no, 2 more games than we did. And then we were tied in the East with my boy Dom Daruba's Michigan team. Why am I forgetting their name right now? I don't know why. Sometimes I get tongue-tied. But we were,
Pistons.
Who?
I believe it was the Pistons.
Yes, thank you. Appreciate you. Thank you, Sean. Sorry, I cannot believe I blanked on that.
Happens.
But they lost one more game than we were vying all season long, like who can not win. And so finally it was us. They ended up a little better than us, but not much. But I want to keep PJ. I want to keep PJ. Most of Charlotte wants to keep PJ. If you're a fan base, you know what he's doing. You know what he's capable of. He's solid. He doesn't get injured. Knock on wood. He's played 73 games for us the entire time he's been here. He doesn't miss games. Like, I think he had the flu once. Like, he doesn't miss games.
No.
We keep him. We'd be dumb not to. But I'm not an NBA executive, and they make a lot of dumb decisions sometimes. So, you know. And yes, somebody asked, I saw earlier, that I do think it's Frank's redemption tour.
Well, it should be Mitch Kupchak's redemption tour as well, but we'll see what happens there. Magic Man, before I go into more of a synopsis with Jennifer and her thoughts on where the team will be this season, did you have any more questions for her on as far as the team? They still a team with some tantalizing and interesting young talent. There's also some veterans who could be moved. Gordon Hayward, PJ Washington, even if he's signed, would probably be a very marketable commodity come trade deadline. Terry Rozier, I mean, 20-point scorer, but he has 3 more years left on his deal. So I'm like, and they're like 24, 25, right in that range as far as million per year. So not exactly the most, it's just gettable contract or wantable, desirable contract to go ahead and trade for. Any questions on for Jennifer on the Charlotte Hornets you want to add in here, my friend?
Yeah. So with PJ, when we say PJ's coming back, we're pretty confident in that, right, Jen? Because like you said, he's one of the most versatile players in the NBA. And again, he doesn't get a lot of the pub and a lot of the copy because, unfortunately, Charlotte's been at a bottom dweller for a couple of years. But like, as far as like offensive versatility
mainly last year, mainly last year. Prior to last year, I was telling Gerald this before last year, I would have said this year we would have been deep playoff berth.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. But last year, after Bridges did his stuff, he messed with the chemistry. Melo got hurt at the end of 22 season.
Ooh, yeah.
Then was injured again. But we were so
when you say get injured, just pick a year. He gets injured every year.
Well, his rookie year, he did really well.
He did. Yeah, he did. But so with PJ coming back, who would you want to see as a starting 5?
Basketball only, off court antics away.
Yeah, just take the antics away and your 5 best.
So comes the 17th once Miles
come the
Bridges.
17th.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
that's when
I'd
Miles
say
Bridges gets
Miles because Miles doing what he did messed with the chemistry so bad. Like he and Melo, bosom buddies. I think Melo was in shock that happened. So I'll be interested to see what happens. So based on historical play and the leader he was on the court, Bridges, Kelly Oubre, I really like him. I know he's usually a bench man, but I like him a lot. He does well. PJ, obviously, Melo. That's
Kelly
four.
Oubre is a free agent right now. So he's not even on any team. Kelly Oubre is not even Kelly Oubre is a free agent right now, I believe.
He's on?
He's not on a team right now. He's an available unrestricted free agent.
You're right.
Yeah, he's still.
I stopped looking at my spreadsheet.
So Brandon Miller. So Brandon Miller. So how about
Brandon? I want to see what Brandon Miller does before I put him there, but Melo, definitely.
Well, they're gonna put him in that starting lineup just because he's the number 2 overall pick.
Yeah. Okay, let me start over. I forgot that he was. I liked Kelly, but whatever.
There's a man who hasn't found a shot.
Gordon needs to be fill-in. I'm sorry. He has the potential to be great, but he's more injured than most hypochondriacs are, and he's legitimately injured. He's not a hypochondriac. All right, let's go with Melo. Miles, Brandon, Scary Terry.
Oh, okay.
And then Williams as your center.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so kind of like a small ball lineup that is going to run and try and get a lot of points in transition.
Yeah, we do better that way. We don't do better with slow ball.
Yeah, no, I agree. The faster Charlotte can play, I think the better opportunity it is to win a game.
Same thing with the Lakers.
Yeah, the Lakers have the same problem, Jen. We gotta run up and down the court all 48 minutes to win a game. It
does not look pretty when we do it in the half court.
Absolutely. No, we were a terrible half court offense in during the regular season, and during the playoffs we were bottom 4. So yeah, we're kind of in similar ballpark there as far as style of play goes, Jen. So who would your 6th man be in that case? So assuming we bring PJ back, assuming the Hornets bring him back, would you bring PJ off the bench first, or would you bring Gordon Hayward off the bench first?
PJ.
Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, I'm a PJ lover. Like, I mean, he's done so much for us. He doesn't gloat. He goes out and he works. He's a workhorse. And his work ethic shines.
Now, can I ask you another question? Another player I really like is Cody Martin. Now, I know his brother gets a lot of copy in Miami, but I'm more of a Cody fan myself. I think he plays like more a ferocious brand of defense. I'm not saying that Caleb doesn't. I just think that Cody's motor is constant. Do you think he can take a step up offensively? Because I think if he does, that really creates a lot of options for Cliff as far as different lineups.
But for the organization as well, in case you do like you would want to send Miles Bridges, Gordon Hayward, and maybe a couple of those guys, maybe send them away for better draft picks or players that could help you down the road. Do you think Martin could step in and be a
Oh yeah, I think Martin could step in. He's underutilized, definitely. And that's because when he is on the court, he's a game changer. He's making plays, right? His numbers, back that up. But he doesn't play a lot of minutes. I mean, he in January he played more minutes than he had the rest of the season. I'll say that. The vast majority. I don't know. He's a game. I like Cody. I want to keep him, but I mean, this is bad. He's just not somebody I think of. Like, and that's not to knock him or anything, but I mean, I don't know why. He's solid. His stats are great. I just
kind of feel he's just.
You have me stuck. I'm like,
yeah. Yeah, it feels like he's underutilized. That's a great word you used. I feel the same way. I just think if they played him a little bit more, he could play either a 3 or a small 4, depending on if his shot's falling right. But like you said, Jen, there's a lot of those guys in Charlotte right now.
There are
a lot of them.
And I was flabbergasted when we brought Clough back. Like, I was shocked when we fired another coach.
Yeah, me too.
What are you talking about? Like, he actually got us to the playoffs. Like, Cliff had gotten us to the playoffs. We got the Hornets name back in 2013. He got us back to the playoffs in 2013, 2014. Nothing 15 and 16. He was gone. Ran around the league a little bit. Then he came home, to Charlotte. So I don't know. I was shocked that he came home. I was shocked. That was just me. But did I mess up?
You're good.
No,
everything's good.
All good. All good.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sorry,
All good.
I thought my computer's froze again. Sorry about that.
No worries. All good indeed. Once again, it is Jennifer Matthews Lewis. Go ahead and check out what she's doing today at newstitchmedia.com. Also, as well, she has some great shows for you. 3 Chicks in the Pod, The Sip Off, and Chicks and Salsa. So go ahead and search that out as far as being part of some of the great Facebook groups for those shows. Go ahead and do that today. But before we head on out, and before I ask you your opinion on the Los Angeles Lakers, where do you see this team realistically this season? Do you see them as going back to the lottery once again? 30 and 52? Okay. That puts them right around maybe 10th in the Western. No, not 10th. 11th or 12th in the in the Eastern Conference.
Yes.
So.
And they, I feel like right now, and I meant to say this earlier on, you know how the 76ers spent a couple of years like completely tanking just to rebuild, like you were saying, Sean? I think that's what we're doing. I'm sick of us rebuilding. I can say that I am a Hornets fan. I am glad that my husband and I actually gave up our season tickets before Kemba left. Like that season, like between the season ending and Kemba leaving, we had already told our account manager we weren't going to resign. Don't give me that. I need a good one. Come on, Sean.
You said
you called it right there,
Jen. Yeah.
Vegas has it at Vegas is right with you, Jen, because they're 29.5 in most places that I'm checking right now. Here.
Oh, really?
Yes. So,
I didn't even know that.
So 30 and 52 is actually slightly over, right about where they're standing. I think in order to do that, you need a full healthy season from Ball. If he gets hurt again, Jennifer, I think they are going to go ahead and do the tank and try to go ahead and tank with the best of them. I think that Gordon Hayward will be on the trading marketplace. And I also mentioned, like I said, Brandon Miller has to really step up for you as a rookie. And he has to probably play at a rookie of the year level to get to 35 wins. If this team stays healthy and Brandon Miller plays like the rookie of the year, this team has a chance to hit 35, 36 wins. But if not, it can get really ugly from there. I'm not going to be honest.
I just want other players to stop going after Melo's ankle. Come on, guys.
Oh, yeah, Jen.
That's what kills me. That's what injures him every time. Like, that's what kills me. Stop doing.
Hey, we feel the same way about LeBron, Jen, and this isn't LeBron from 10 years ago, where somebody just steps right over that ankle and he just pulls the shoe up, the tongue up. He's in like immense pain. Like 99% of us wouldn't be able to walk, but there he is playing his butt off, can't do it anymore. Somebody steps on his ankle. Me and Gerald are rolling our eyes and saying, "Uh-oh. This is a 2 to 4 week injury."
Okay, I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
I heard a rumor today, and I did not have time to check it out. Did they really put a statue of LeBron in front of the arena?
There's no. I know
Okay.
that Jeannie Buss has said that before. I mean, when it's all said and done, and he retires, and he gets his own Las Vegas team, which is heavily rumored that he wants to become a part investor or full investor of a Las Vegas expansion team. But when he retires officially, I know Jeannie Buss has said more than one occasion that she is going to probably put something out there for him on a statue. But yeah, nothing is. The only statue that's going up in the next year will be Kobe's on August the 8th of 2024. That's the only one I know for sure.
Because that was the only one that I knew definitively. But somebody mentioned today to me that they were putting one up of LeBron, and I was like, okay, honestly, Ohio, like
Cleveland will put one up.
Fieldhouse, I get, because he's done so much for the community there and for the organization there, as well as the Lakers. But he's been with the Lakers for like 4 years, so it's like to do that before Kobe, I was like, before the long list of players and Lakers elites in my mind, I was like, that's just disrespectful to them. No offense to LeBron, but because he deserves a statue. But I was like, come on, guys, let's get Kobe up there first. Sorry, I had to ask.
Yeah, that will be official on Kobe Day, Kobe Bryant Day next year in 2024.
Okay.
Because of 8/24, they want to get that all in there. But before we head on out, Jennifer, your thoughts on the Los Angeles Lakers? We'd be honest, be upfront. Where do you see the Lakers falling in the Western Conference this season?
4th.
Okay, that's
honestly,
yeah.
And it depends on, and honestly, I could be wrong. Y'all could be a lot higher. But I think it depends on the health. And
Kurt at it again.
Kurt, I need you in the comment section of my page, my podcast. Please and thank you. What do you think? What are your expectations?
Well, again, it's all based off of the health of a guy who's in his 21st season in LeBron, and the health of a guy who's been often injured in Anthony Davis, who we just gave a considerable amount of money to in the, as of now, and I'm going to put those keywords in quotations there, as of now, highest extension ever for an NBA player in Anthony Davis. Again, those guys give you 65 games each. Then the team will probably win somewhere between 47 and 52 games, which will put them right around second to fourth, right where you were talking about. Okay. They just need to target a home series, at least one home series in the playoffs. I think that would help them out immensely. Whether or not they do that now, if they play a combined 65 games, like they did something like last year, which was closer to that than the other way, then you have some real issues, and the Lakers are again fighting uphill battle once again. But we'll wait and see. I mean, we're going to go into depths tomorrow in detail on the schedule, and there's not great news in regards to back-to-backs and things of that nature, and we'll discuss that on the show for us tomorrow. But that's a very honest opinion, and that's right along the line of where most of the analysts that we've had on our shows for these other teams have gauged where the Lakers are at, and they all like what the Lakers have, but they know that the Western Conference is going to be brutal this upcoming season.
Right. And by the way, Bloodhound, I like the Hornets name better because it's true to who we are as a community and as a state, actually. Because back to the Civil War and Revolutionary War, actually, they would say the British hated coming to the Carolinas, especially North Carolina, because they said two things about us, which is how Carolina got their nickname Tar Heels, and we've got the Hornets. It was like North Carolinians were so stubborn, it was like they had tar on their heels. And the other one was we would sting so bad it was like walking into a hornet's nest.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's
There you
pretty
go,
cool, actually.
So yeah,
So-
and by the way, Bloodhound, love the horned bobs, but Bobcats was a very self-serving name for Bob Johnson. Had nothing to do with the Carolinas or anything like that. I mean, I appreciate him bringing NBA back to Charlotte, but it had nothing to do with us. And I appreciate MJ getting us our name back.
There you go, indeed. But once again, please check out Jennifer Matthews Lewis today. Right there, check out our back shows for Three Chicks in a Pod,
Yeah.
Chicks and Salsa, also as well New Stitch Media, the article she writes there, and everything that she does for the Sip Off as well. Magic Man, before I let Jennifer go ahead and do the full-on pitch on what she's up to and what she's doing, any last questions, my friend, before we head on out?
Yeah, you know what, Jen?
Mhm.
I'm not a huge fan of this schedule, and let me tell you why. Because 9 teams in this league only have one televised game all year long. That means 21 other teams. Yeah, that means 21 other teams are getting a lot of attention, right? And these 9 teams aren't getting any. And and Charlotte is one of those teams, unfortunately.
Mhm.
Charlotte, the Raptors, the Wizards, the Rockets, I could go on, but they're not getting any play this year. So, do you think
that's not fair because the Hornets have an international following.
100%.
We have one up there with the Lakers. We have one. It's up there with we don't have the household names like LeBron. We don't. We have had some in the past. Kelly Tapoka, Dell, Muggsy. Yep. Somebody mentioned Muggsy before. Like people give Bryce Young grief for being petite. You know what? Petite athletes in the Carolinas have done us well. And I can give you 10 right now. So that doesn't ever bother me. Muggsy
Bogues could play in any era, Jen.
Oh, yeah.
And I will argue to the hilt against anybody about that. He could play in the 50s. He could play in the 60s. He could learn how to play in the 70s when it was rough and tumble. He was fine in college in the 80s, and we saw what he could do. It almost felt like there were 2 Muggsies out there because he literally almost led the league in assist to turnover ratio his whole career, and I think he was at least in the top 10 of steals at least 3 or 4 times. So, to me, when people say, you need to be tall, you need to be a little tall in the NBA. If you want to be a scorer, yeah, but you don't. You're right, you don't.
You don't, because Muggsy was a scorer. There's only one man who could get into Muggsy's psyche. And you know when that happened? After Muggsy got into his. And you know who that was? Michael Jordan.
Wow. There we go.
And do you know why I firmly believe Michael Jordan wanted to buy us? Other than the fact that he went to Carolina, and even though he was born in Brooklyn, he was raised in Wilmington area. He used to say he hated playing at the old Charlotte Coliseum. We were the loudest arena out there, when we were there. We could bring it, but it was our first professional sports team too. So yeah,
that's awesome. I'm glad you brought that up because there are 3 players Jordan has spoken of specifically that he felt were the toughest on him. One was Joe Dumars, one was Mitch Richmond, and one was rest in peace, the late Bobby Phills. Bobby Phills was one of my all-time favorite defenders, Jen. He was just big. He was 6'5". He was like 230, but he was strong. And he could defend guys like Jordan. And, rest in peace. It's a shame what happened, but he was one of their best defenders.
I was fortunate enough to be when Shen went to New Orleans, we had retired his jersey number, and back before Shen went to New Orleans. Shen took it with him in New Orleans. That was his right. He was the owner of the team. That was still really nasty to do to the Charlotteans and the Carolinas. So I was fortunate enough as an adult when we came back, when Michael Jordan got our name back, my husband, like as soon as we got our name back, my husband went online to go buy just regular tickets to the home opening game. And that's when we got season tickets. Like he was on the phone with somebody because it ended up being cheaper for us. So that's how we really got into it. And my husband's really into basketball, so he taught me a lot. Like I knew some. I mean, you don't get raised, an hour outside of, Wake, Duke, Carolina, and not know basketball, right? You just don't, it doesn't happen.
Nope.
But he was able to teach me a lot about, especially professional basketball. I was saying football, but I was fortunate enough to be at Michael Jordan did another unveiling of Bobby Fell's jersey. That was my point. So I was there twice. So that was pretty cool.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That just shows what kind of person Mike really is. He cares. He cares.
He does.
He cares. He was a killer on the court, but off the court, he cares.
Yes, absolutely, he cares. And I think our biggest games this year, honestly, the Celtics are one of our biggest rivals somehow. Like, I mean, I know it makes sense, but I don't know. It's always kind of weird to me because they were never really a rival to us until like the last 5-6 years. But so that's going to be a big rival for us. The Spurs game, I think is going to have, thanks, Kurt. We're going to have, you guys are always a sellout crowd.
And you guys always beat us. Whenever we go to Charlotte, I usually have
that's because your boy decides not to play.
A loss.
That's because your main man, LeBron James, decides he doesn't need to play against the Charlotte Hornets.
You know what, Jen?
I've seen him play like 5 minutes, and I'm like, I enjoyed watching MJ better. Sorry.
For some reason, Jen, all those Hornets teams got so up for Kobe. I mean, I think they won a game in Charlotte maybe
Well, that's
twice.
because Kobe changed the narrative. I'm sorry. Rest in peace, Kobe. You did a lot of great things for LA, for your community. You changed the narrative. You refused to play for the Hornets. So, yeah, we still got to be in our bonnet. And remember, we're the Charlotte Hornets, baby. We sting.
I love it. I love it.
Well, there you go, indeed. But once again, it is Jennifer Matthews-Lewis. Please go ahead and check out what she's doing today at 3 Chicks in a Pod. Also, she writes for New Stitch Media, Chicks and Salsa, and also as well the Sip Off. All these great shows you can find on Facebook. Be a part of those great Facebook groups today, plus newstitchmedia.com. But before we head out, Jen, what are you cooking up at the Sip Off? What are you cooking up at 3 Chicks in a Pod? What are you working on at Chicks and Salsa? And also, what great articles do you have in store for us at New Stitch Media?
All right, so let's start with the articles. I have my editor, Fago Franklin the third, has been very patient with me. I covered the ACC kickoff a couple of weeks ago. Like a couple of articles on that. I think with the ACC, I think Boston College is actually going to be very much a surprise team. But I'm biased. I have a soft spot for BC for personal reasons. Obviously, Carolina's going to win. Right now, ACC, please give me press credentials to cover the home opener of the Duke Mayo Classic. Just saying if you're watching, just saying. So I've got those. And I was fortunate to cover last week the NASCAR unveiling of who will be at the inducted in the NASCAR Hall of Fame. And so I've got some, we've got Jimmy Johnson. He's great. Everybody's writing stories on him. I've been working on a really good one on Donnie Allison, who will be in there too. So I'm really excited because I felt like Donnie at the or the announcement ceremony didn't get enough love from the press. I was a little offended for him, but people kind of, I guess they forgot about him. But, he's part of the Alabama gang. So I've got those coming. I've got to finish editing those.
Well,
before
I don't
send
think Cale Yarba will be going ahead and giving his announcement speech as far as for Donnie Allison on that. I think there's probably still some hard feelings over the Daytona 500. That's just
There might be.
still one of the classic pictures of all time, and actually one of the
It's
key
true.
moments in NASCAR history as far as on a nationwide basis, getting that out of what a regional sport into something much more broader. And that's whether you like it or not, what happened, the whole accident, the fight
Yeah,
between Donnie Allison, Cale Yarborough put the NASCAR sport right on the front page
it did.
in newspapers nationwide. I remember that distinctly and watched because I used to watch Daytona 500 religiously when I was young and
Okay.
still follow the sport today somewhat. So yeah, definitely I would love to see what happens if there's going to be any reference to it during Donnie Allison's acceptance speech on that, because it is
It was mentioned during his induction, like when
yeah
it was the announcement ceremony.
yeah. So
Yeah.
that would be that I may go I may go search that out on YouTube just to go ahead and do that. But
I'll message you my videos I have if you want.
oh, that's awesome. Thank you very
Yeah,
much for
I'll
doing that.
message them to you. And then I'm going to also have them uploaded on my personal page. My Instagram is both Instagram and Facebook are now public. That was really scary for me to do because I'm a kind of a control freak. So for me to make them public was a little scary. The sip off will be starting off in October. Oh, but those articles will be probably on the website by Monday because I'm going to finish editing them all up this week. Between tonight and tomorrow night, get them to Fago. But check out Fago's website. He has lots of articles. New Stiched Media covers lots of sporting events. He has got reporters everywhere. So, yeah, like check it out. Like he's obviously not right now. He's covered red carpet events. He's had like everything. Like he was helping me out at the Super Bowl this past year, introducing me people to get interviews. So yeah, check out New Stitch Media. Great company, great. Fago's awesome. Then check out the Sip Off, that Facebook page. Gerald's already put it in the chat. Megan, the Queen of Hoops, is the founder of that. And I will be helping her out, I believe, this year. And then she, so we'll be starting off mid-October. And we're working on a line, some more, adding some new people into that as well. You want to join us, Gerald? Sean, y'all want to come on? You can. Just let us know. And then I can't hear you.
Sean, go ahead. Go ahead, Sean. Now you're on.
Yeah, Jen, I accept the invitation.
It's a lot of fun. You'll have a blast. It's a lot of fun. And then who else? And then Chicks and Salsa. So the Three Chicks in a Pod is Carrie, our Chiefs chick, Carrie Johnson. You can follow her on Facebook as well and on Twitter at Chiefs Chick. You can follow all of us at Three Chicks in a Pod on Twitter. Then you can also get Carrie at Chiefs Chicks on Twitter. You can also get her on Facebook. She also writes for a Football World on Twitter, on Facebook. And then Megan is the Queen of Hoops. And Gerald can attest to this. Megan knows her basketball.
Yes,
she knows her WNBA. She's gotten people who are like, why are you following the WNBA? And she's gotten some of those same people to start really investing in the WNBA. I'm really proud of her. She's been a game changer for the WNBA, and the WNBA doesn't even know it. She's really been one of their biggest champions. I'm proud of her. And she is the owner of the Sip Off. And we started this Tuesday, we'll be doing Three Chicks in a Pod. And we will be discussing Javier Loya. He is the minority owner of the Houston Texans. And he's been recently charged with sexual assault in Kentucky. And we wanted to discuss why this is an ongoing theme in Houston. Why, or kind of in Dallas, in Texas. Why it's not more national news. And then, are you a Chiefs fan? And then we're also going to discuss a little more about Michael Orr and the Tuohys. And then next week we're going to do our predictions. So, and not this week, next week will be Chicks and Salsa. And that's when we bring in our girl Candy Ebling, and I'm looking to bring on a few other women who might like really want to be invested and, you know, add some more to it, because Chicks and Salsa, 3 Chicks in a Pot is just the 3 of us. Chicks and Salsa is more women, and we're just chicks talking sports.
You know, it's so funny because I'm looking at the Hall of Fame nominees for NASCAR, and I'm like, I just assumed because you know he's one of the greatest racing car drivers of all time. AJ
Yeah.
Foyt would have already been in the NASCAR Hall of Fame, seeing as how he's been voted into the top 50 all time in NASCAR and top 75. He's still not in it. I don't know how insane that is, but then again, you also have Neil Bonnet, Harry Gant, Ricky Rudd. You know, those guys are still not in it as well. So you know, I don't know. Do we have to bribe somebody to get AJ Foyt in the NASCAR Hall of Fame?
I mean, I'm just saying, when I worked for Rico, which is a printer company, and NASCAR, like my area was Mooresville, North Carolina, which is NASCAR country.
Of course.
I will not say whom I was speaking with. This is tying into you, okay? But to me, it's a shame. Does he deserve a place in the Hall of Fame? Maybe. But Dale Jr. is in there before some of these other guys.
It's true. It's a good point.
And the IT guy was like, NASCAR has just changed the way they do it for Dale Jr.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised, even though AJ's close to 90, I'm surprised he's not stubborn enough. He's the type of guy that would be just stubborn enough to go ahead and just ransack the Hall of Fame, because he'd be so pissed off right now that he wouldn't be in it. But maybe he's mellowed as time goes on. But I'm seriously doubting that's happened. If you know super text, like many of the longtime racing fans out there. But again, you know, his record speaks for itself, and I'm so surprised that he's not in it. But that's another conversation for another day. We're getting off on another first pro wrestling with AEW and WWE and all that stuff, and then all talking about motor racing and NASCAR and all that. Sorry, Sean. The Madman from Toronto's. Yeah, I'm not sure how far your expertise goes. I know it goes a little bit into pro wrestling, but I'm not sure if it went in NASCAR. So sorry about that. But when you're talking Charlotte, North Carolina, you got to be talking pro wrestling and NASCAR, my friend.
You do. And if any of you guys are ever in the Charlotte area, legitimately, when I was covering that, I've covered the induction ceremony, but this was the one where the announcement ceremony, I was able to go in and do some of the interactive things. Check out the Hall of Fame. Like, it's really, really cool.
Oh, I will.
I was impressed. Like, I did not think I would be that impressed.
You know, Jen, you know, I grew up with a dad who worked at a steel plant for 32 years. Yeah. So wasn't a very, you know, affable, kind of lovey-dovey, hands-on kind of man. But we could always talk sports, and it was our surrogate, because we could talk about the late, great Dale Earnhardt, and it was like my dad and me were saying, I love you. And that was a horrible day for the both of us when that happened, because he happened to be both of our favorite drivers. And I grew up loving the Intimidator, and
I watched it live.
Yeah. And it was really a terrible
it incident. Didn't even look like that hard of a hit, to be honest with you.
Sterling Marlin was never the same after that. I have always felt bad for Sterling. Yeah. Sterling was actually my husband's favorite driver. I kind of liked Sterling even before he and I met, because I liked his name. But you don't grow up in the Carolinas, or especially this area in Charlotte, and not know NASCAR. But I felt really bad for him. The one time that Teresa Earnhardt and Dale Jr. ever agreed on anything publicly was telling people to back off of Sterling, because it wasn't a hard hit. It was a fluke. And he died doing what he loved. Literally. Yeah. He died doing what he loved.
No, Jen, like if how many men, women, other can say that? I went out doing what I loved.
Yeah.
Because that's like his story is amazing. Mm-hmm. Quit school. All I want to do is race cars. That's all I know. That's all I'm good at.
Race cars?
Yeah. And he did it. He did it. And you know, his story is so amazing to me. Even if it was short, it's an amazing story.
His story was not short.
No.
Okay.
No.
Oh, okay, so
with his father, but his father.
But they're with his father.
Yeah, I mean, who is a great
Yeah.
race car driver in his own right. Then you get to Dale, obviously. I don't know if you want to say he's better than Petty. Some will say Petty's better than him. Vice versa. They're both great. They're both awesome. I know you can't go wrong with saying.
They both have family lineages with them, and they both have had.
I think it's kind of like
if you call one
that changed Petty.
If you call one the GOAT and you call the other GOAT, you're not wrong on either.
So. Right.
I agree. Yeah.
100%.
100%. It's like trying to compare like the guitar gods, like EVH and Jimi Hendrix. It's like they're both gods.
Earnhardt didn't have 200 wins, but he dominated in a time where it was the
7
amount
titles,
of teams,
I believe.
The amount of teams that could actually win races consistently were more than what Petty could at the beginning of his career. Petty dominated when there wasn't as many cars able to win races as when Dale Earnhardt won his races. But before we head on out, I know
Petty did races all over the place.
Yeah, that's on dirt tracks. Back. I mean, that was a different. He dominated in a time where it was a much different era than the super speedways. He was still winning in the super speedways, of course. His famous win in Daytona, but most of his wins came at a time when there were short tracks. It was a different time for most of his victories early on. But before we head on out, Joe Soro from LakersBall.com is here. Ox 1947. He got off the freeway. He is here now. Done with the week of
private jet.
Yes, from Simblades. Simblades with Y.com.
I couldn't take the private jet today. I needed something a little bit more flexible.
But did you have any questions for Jim before we head on out on the Charlotte Hornets?
Yes, you were talking about history and the rivalry with the Celtics. Of course.
Yeah.
When you said that, the first thing that popped up in my head was May 5th, 1993. Game winner, Alonzo Mourning eliminates Boston. Were you entrenched at that time? And curious what you were thinking at the time.
That's not a game that I think about a lot because it was a very long time ago. I want to show my age. I was still in high school. No, junior high school. I was in 9th grade. So depending on where you are at that point in Charlotte, I was still in junior high school. So
I was in 9th grade as well.
Okay, cool. So I remember that. I remember the city erupting. Like we were really happy. Was that also the game where his pants fell down? His shorts fell down?
I think
it
so.
Was. Okay.
Yeah. Sean, do you remember that?
Yeah.
I don't remember the shorts falling.
I was like,
his shorts fell down, Joe. Yeah. He was. I think he's wearing like he's wearing striped boxers. That's what I remember.
But what a front line between him and Grandmama. Just absolutely.
Yes.
It's Larry too bad. Johnson. Yeah, it's a bummer because the Hornets. I know the teal was in at the time, but I just think. The reason why they were popular is they kind of were the other side of Orlando in that they both got 2 guys back to back that were stars. And the East was starting to form this new regime after Boston's started kind of flaming out. Obviously the Bulls were the head of the class at the time, but there was some excitement where if Shaq, Penny, Larry Johnson, and Alonzo had stayed together and healthy, because Larry jacked up his back, and obviously Anthony Hardaway and obviously Shaq left in '96, and then Anthony started having health problems after that. It could have been an interesting, run. Could have been an interesting run with not just Orlando, but also with the Charlotte Hornets kind of being there. It might not have mattered just because I think Michael Jordan was just too next level. the guys right now in this era, because they didn't see Jordan play, they start talking about, oh well, the 90s. They're starting to say things like the 90s players were plumbers. I'm like, you guys are you guys are so stupid. I can't even.
Some of these guys today couldn't hang in the 90s, in my opinion.
No way.
You think anyone today would be able to hang with Jerry West? Did you hear what an 80-year-old Jerry West said a few weeks ago?
What did he say?
They're talking about how, everybody calls themselves the dog, or that guy's a dog, and he goes, I was a wolf. Wolf eats dogs. That is probably one of the baddest lines I've heard in a while. Honestly, without like hearing it from somewhere else, something original. That is the most original badass line I've heard in a while. It was.
I like that line.
And that right there, it goes to when you watch Winning Time, and you are sitting there watching Mr. Clark play Jerry West, you're going, I know there's exaggeration, but that's Jerry. It's gotta be Jerry.
Yeah.
And I said this before. I would, if I had a chance to sit with Jerry West, the first thing I would tell him if I was talking to him about that show, if he'd let me, is like, Jerry, I know it's exaggerated. I know it's Hollywood, but I like you more because of it now. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I already loved you already. So yeah, the 90s, we lost something that probably should have gone further. And the Hornets were really the big disappointment to me in the 90s. They should have been. It's not their fault. It just sucks that it didn't stay together long enough.
So one thing that I've found, like, I don't remember how. My husband and I watch a lot of YouTube. Okay, guys, and we have found Michael Jordan's vault, and it's LeBron James fans from, younger fans than us who never really saw MJ play the game. Okay. Like, these are the guys that are always arguing that point. And then it's kind of a reaction type video of seeing them watch MJ with his shots. And they're like, oh, okay. We see the point now. Like, we see what you're saying now. So, and it's kind of cute. Like, I would highly recommend checking them out because, like, honestly, not even like to change your mind, but just to see some of those plays. Not even Michael Jordan's just says, like, you've got Larry Bird in there. You've got a couple Lonzo. You got some Muggsy. You've got everybody. You've got Shaq, Magic. Like, you don't see them that much anymore. Like, most of this younger generation, I hate to say that, but if you were born in 2000, you're 23 now, going into 24, but you don't know what it was like to actually watch this game. You don't understand the passion. Like, unless you're watching a Cleveland Cavs game when LeBron was there, unless you're in San Francisco watching a Golden State game, you're watching the Clippers last season pull some miracles out of their derriers. And obviously LeBron always, pulls that enthusiasm as well. So, I mean, not every arena has it. And every single arena in the 90s had it. Malice in the Palace, obviously 2003, 2004. But that was kind of the end of, like, the 90s, the Malice in the Palace. So, and that was kind of sad for me. Rasheed Wallace with I don't got it no more. I done smoked it all. I'm just saying. Like, the stuff that would come out of their mouths. Like, come on, guys. The best smack talkers of all time. That's what really made MJ the best. One of the reasons. But yeah.
Well, I think
check out the MJ vault. It's kind of cool. It's really cool.
I think the lousy technical foul calls that they've started to, or they created the last 5-6 years has put a kind of a damper on anyone being able to do anything. And I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is about the NBA and why they don't let these guys. I don't know why they don't let these guys get emotional without throwing double. I mean, double text used to be the thing, right? Just to kind of calm them down. Okay, cool. I thought it was stupid then. Even like if you're gonna give them a double tech, let them each shoot a free throw. Let them earn it. But this constant, like this guy's trying to block a shot and he accidentally hits him in the head. Now it's a flagrant one. It's like, it's not. It's not a damn flagrant foul. It is an accident.
Yeah.
And you can sit there and you can argue, like, if you, like, Bynum hitting Berea in the face.
Right.
That was flagrant. When Karl Malone opened 18 stitches on Isaiah's eye during the drive, that's a flagrant foul. Bill Laimbeer's existence is a flagrant foul. That's fine. I get that. But this going up for a shot and it just softens and everyone's sitting there and they're wondering why, right? Because I remember, you hypocritical a-holes, anytime there was a fight, there was a huge crowd saying, "Oh, I can't believe this. Can't believe these guys are just street guys fighting and blah, blah, blah." I'm like, you pieces of crap. Now that they're soft, now you're complaining about that. Well, which one is it?
Right.
Which one do you want? I don't know about you guys. I like hockey fights, and I love bench clearing brawls in baseball. Mm-hmm. I love them.
Do you ever watch those on YouTube?
When anyone asks me, what do I want to see at a baseball game, right? What do you want to catch a ball? I've caught a ball before, so I don't care about that. I go, I want to be at a game where there's a bench clearing. And I want it. Yeah. I want it. Pedro grabbing Zimmer's head and gently doing this. I want to see that.
Oh, did y'all hear that Hernandez's court lawsuit against the MLB suing for a lack of promotion was thrown out?
Who's this?
Angel Hernandez was suing the MLB because he was never getting promoted. But there's a reason for that, as we all can attest. I'm not even the biggest MLB fan. Like I know enough, but
he's an umpire, just to let everybody know out there.
He's a really bad umpire.
Yes.
Like some of the worst calls in MLB come from Angel. Would you agree with that, Gerald?
I would probably agree. I mean, that's hard list. There's a long list of bad calls in any sport, but in baseball, his name has been tossed around quite a bit as far as that's just trying to upstage the game. It's one of those things where the referee wants to be bigger than the game itself, and you've seen that a lot. We see that a lot in the NBA. You know, where these NBA refs, some of them I will leave unnamed, where they just want to go ahead and make it about. Oh, come on, Joe. Like for instance, with the Lakers,
Salvatore and
Bennett Salvatore. Yeah, he was someone that was.
Wasn't he the fixer? Isn't that what his nickname was?
That's true. Who was the one that who didn't decide?
I think it's because he was Italian. That's why I don't think. I don't think he was doing anything.
but you know, Angel definitely comes to mind amongst that. You know, Major League Baseball, probably one of the worst, most infamous, and that's probably why. And he, like you said, he just had a lawsuit thrown out again in court. So
I think you were thinking of Scott Foster, Gerald.
Scott Foster's absolutely terrible.
That's who.
Oh, you mean the Chris Paul killer? Chris Paul killer?
That's who Donahue's good buddy was.
Bad.
Yes. And need I say more on that close relationship there? So.
Oh, by the way, speaking of Bennett Salvatore was caught with income tax fraud. Was on probation for a year.
Oh, a lot of them were found out because they were
all your taxes.
Well, a lot of them were disciplined because of the fact that they were pocketing the travel money and not reporting it. I think it's, to an extent there were several allegations with other referees as far as the way they were handling their travel money as far as it's concerned.
Really picking on refs making what, $150 a year.
They're making more than
they're making more.
Back in 2000, they were making more than that.
2,000. You're right. You're right.
I mean,
I'm talking about recently, in recent
Yeah.
years.
I mean, I'm not a CPA, but word was out.
They're-
They made
and-
good money at the time, but that
In the
was good money at
NFL, the
the time.
refs are making upwards of 100.
Yeah, that's because the NFL owners are the cheapest rear holes in sports.
Well, I'll tell you what, though, a lot of great conversation here all over the place. But Jennifer, it's been so great to have you on.
Thank
One of
you.
the things that we've been asking, if you are available around the time, maybe the day of, as a game day preview before the Lakers play the Charlotte Hornets, we'd love to
Sure.
have you back on as far as that previewing the game. So love to have you if you get a chance to go ahead, either away at Charlotte or when they come play here at the Crypt here in Los Angeles. So we'd love to have you on.
Absolutely. That'd be awesome. Thank you for the invite.
Absolutely. So once again, it's Jennifer Matthews Lewis. Please go ahead and check out what she's doing today. Facebook, her awesome shows right there for you. 3 Chicks in a Pod, Chicks and Salsa, The Sip Off, and of course, all the great articles that she writes for newstitchmedia.com.
Yes. Thank you guys so much. Have a great evening.
You too as well. And for everybody out there, let me give you the lineup. Tomorrow we go a deep dive. We're taking a deep dive into the NBA schedule for the Los Angeles Lakers. We're going to talk about the highs and lows, where the Lakers can take advantage, where the Lakers might get burned. We'll talk about that coming up on tomorrow's show. Also a Team USA post game because they play tomorrow morning against Greece. We'll go ahead and give you a wrap up on that as well.
The Intimidator and
Yep, that's Sean right there for you. But
that's me.
Speaking of
That
Sean,
is me.
we'll also hear him this weekend wrapping up the other Team USA game in Abu Dhabi. That's, I think, on Sunday, if I'm not mistaken, or is that a Saturday?
Mhm.
I think it's Friday, Sunday.
I think it's Friday, Sunday, Gerald.
Yeah, I think it's Friday, Sunday. So we'll go ahead and wrap up both games. Also,
Yeah,
as
it's
well,
Friday, Sunday.
Chris Jose LeBron going to go ahead and preview the Knicks on Sunday. And on Sunday, to pack enough in for you, there's going to be most likely a Lakerholic spotlight as well. So again, thank you to Jennifer Lewis for stopping by. Looking forward to seeing you guys and gals tomorrow in the best Lakers chat room that's out there, and also the best Lakers show that's out there right here at the Lakers Fast Break Podcast.
Thank you.